The center of a verbal abuse investigation has now been placed on paid leave. New Jersey school officials say that a second teacher resigned after the father of a boy with autism strapped a digital audio recorder to his son to hear what was happening at school after he was disturbed that his son kept coming home very upset. He then posted those recordings on the internet. Here's some of it.
No, you can't cheat. Here. The boys are playing in what? Love? Whoop. Oh,
you hear that at the end, the word that she calls that little boy. So the boy's father immediately blasted the teachers on that tape, took it to YouTube, and here's what he said on that.
You heard him crying innocently? And he's a for that? What kind of sick, twisted person does that to a 10-year-old boy?
Stuart Chaffetz definitely got his message out. That video went viral on YouTube. A lot of people listening to the tape of what the teachers said in that room to this little boy. And Stuart Chaffetz is back with me once again here in America's Newsroom. Good to have you back, sir.
Thank you.
So a lot has happened since we last spoke. And the teacher who you claim had responsibility really for this classroom, Kelly Altenberg, has been put on paid leave. She was at another school, but now where is she? Is she at home, or where does she spend her time while she's being paid by this school system?
You know, I would assume that's correct, that she's probably at home. But and let me just say something, that the fact that the investigation is ongoing, that she was put on, is a vindication of what I've done. You know, her lawyer put out a statement saying a lot of things which I found offensive. And the fact that the school district is now taking action, I wish they did this 2 months ago. I wish I didn't have to go through this. And I think that's why we need some changes to our laws so that, you know, parents don't have to be as active as I am, that it's an automatic thing. But it is a vindication, but just a start of the process. There is so much more that has to happen in this case.
All right, so just to clarify for people at home, there were how many teachers and how many aides were in that classroom that your son recorded?
Well, we know that there was one teacher. There was also, apparently from what I've been told, a substitute teacher, and I believe at least one or two more adult staff. I mean, part of the problem is that the school district has not been very clear on some of this. And that's why we need further investigation to find out.
Well,
I want to make sure that
I just want to get this in here. But the teacher says that she did not say any of the horrible words or phrases that are in the recordings that you put out. She says she was not even in the classroom when those things were said. She said that she feels deeply upset about this, and she feels that she's been wrongly accused by you and then punished as a result. What do you say?
Well, first of all, if you watch the video, I attribute the worst stuff not to her, but to someone else. So, I mean, that's one thing. The second thing is the press release said she wasn't there for about an hour in the morning. It's important for people to understand this happened all day long. There was, 5.5 hours more of inappropriate conversations that happened throughout the day, other bullying incidents. And here's what I have. I kept one clip out of the public view in the beginning. And it's something that I'm going to be releasing probably this week. But the teacher was there. And it's pretty clear that she was there and maybe even participated in it, where my son was reading, and then he just put his finger in his nose. It wasn't a big deal. And then he got yelled at. They said it's gross. He starts to get very upset. And it was just a mean thing to do. So how does she explain being present for that mean thing and not saying anything? And also, what about all the inappropriate conversations where she's talking about my son's IEP meeting, which is a violation of my privacy rights? You know, talking about colluding with staff on how to deal with that. Talking about getting pregnancy. You know, let's erase the first hour of the day. She still has a lot to answer for.
Yeah, for people who weren't here last time we had this discussion, there's discussions about drinking too much wine, throwing up the night before, all of this discussed in front of these children in this classroom, which is just, anybody would agree, completely inappropriate. One of the teachers or the aides in the room has resigned. It is this main teacher who was in charge of this classroom, Kelly Altenberg, who is the main focus of what's going on with the investigation right now. Stuart Chaffetz, thank you very much. I hope you'll keep us posted on developments here. We're going to talk about the legal side of this now. Thank you, sir. Good to see you back here.
Thank you very much.
So I'd like to bring in Jeff Gold now. He is a New Jersey defense attorney, very familiar with the law in that state. So Jeff, first of all, was it within Mr. Chaffetz's rights to record what happened in that classroom, without anyone's knowledge?
Yes, it was within his son's rights. It's a participant. As long as you can hear something, you can tape it. And so you can wear a wire on yourself. What you can't do is tape two people without their knowledge. But as long as you're a part of it, you can do it.
Now, the school is saying basically that because it's an audio tape, they're continuing the investigation, and they need to figure out whose voices are saying what words on that audio tape so that they can accurately reprimand the people who are carrying out this. Anybody would agree. This is horrific behavior. Nobody would expect teachers to act like this in a classroom, right? So how hard could it be, though, to determine who's saying what? Because the people in the room know. I said this part, then she said that part, right?
Well, that's right. But, they have to do a careful investigation. Obviously, people's jobs are at stake. You have a tenured teacher. She has certain elevated rights because of the tenure. They're doing it carefully. But the fact is, I think Mr. Chavez is exactly right, that the fact that the teacher is now on paid leave is an initial victory for his point of view on this.
Let me ask you this, because you just brought up something important. I'm sorry to rush you, but I just have time for one more quick question. She's a tenured teacher, which you mentioned, which means she can't be dismissed summarily without an investigation, and that's going on right now. If it's proven that she was in the room and that she heard the other teachers talking about this, and that she chuckled or laughed or took part in any of this conversation, is that grounds for dismissal in New Jersey?
Yes. I mean, if she was part of these horrific conversations, look, this is special education.
Right.
You have to have special attention to these children, and this is not something that would be tolerated even in a normal classroom, let alone one of all autistic children in the same classroom. It's horrific, really, if she was part of it.
We're going to stay on this. Jeff, thank you so much. Good to talk to you today. Jeff Gold, many thanks.
Back to the story breaking in northern Ohio and Cleveland. 5 now arrested. We have a picture of the 5, 3 said to be anarchists, and 2 others in addition to those 3 said to be plotting to blow up a